Hackathon and Cyber Challenge. I'm Cherie Stokes, the Executive Director for Tech MGM, the Montgomery Area Chamber of Commerce's initiative. Over the last few weeks, we have had 7 teams of high school students, airmen, and IT professionals competing in a variety of challenges. Tonight, we will recognize the event place finishers as well as do our application build and pitch finale, and then award the championship belt to the overall winner. I'd like to thank our sponsors for this year, the Chief Information Office of the Secretary of the Air Force, led by Mr. A.G. Hatcher, and the Director of the innovateAFITC Education Foundation, Mr. Eric Sloan. We have really been fortunate to have great events in the past, and it's all due to some of those sponsors. This year, we've also had some outstanding community support from Mayor Stephen Reed's office, from Baptist Health, from Calm Services, from the State of Alabama Department of Education, and the Montgomery Convention and Visitors Bureau. And let's not forget Montgomery Esports and Gaming. This year, we've had nearly 100 participants collaborating virtually from across various Air Force units, Alabama State University, Auburn University Montgomery, Troy University, students from Wetumpka High School, Pike Road School, and IT professionals from Array Information Systems. Throughout this week, each team has competed in a series of events. First was a 1v1 double elimination esports tournament on the popular game Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Nintendo Switch. And then our teams tackled a network systems challenge event where it tested their knowledge on firewalls, network and systems administration, and basic security principles. Last but certainly not least, each team was tasked to create and build an application that actually could support the community during the COVID-19 pandemic in the areas of medical, logistics or policy, education, or hospitality. Now, let's announce some of the winners.
I'm Airman Chance Crawford from Bespin in Montgomery Esports and Gaming, and it was our pleasure to run the Esports Challenge for innovateAFITC. We featured the popular Nintendo Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in a 1v1 double elimination tournament. While we had some very intense matches on Friday night, one winner prevailed. In third place, in second place, and in first place.
I'm Allie Fisher with Calm Services, a local IT firm in Montgomery, and it was our pleasure to run the Network Systems Challenge for innovateAFITC. We tested the team's knowledge on IP and subnet addressing, basic routing, installation and configuration of common services, deploying a website, and remotely transferring files. This event also had an additional constraint, time. Each team had 90 minutes to complete the challenge. We awarded points for each team for completing the required items, and here are the results. In third place, in second place, in first place,
We've made it to our last event, the App Build and Pitch. Each team was tasked to create an application that can assist with operations during the COVID-19 pandemic in the areas of medical, hospitality, education, or logistics and policy. All of our teams submitted a pitch video and description that details the problem they chose to solve, a demonstration of the application working, and also how it will impact the community. You will now have an opportunity to see the pitches submitted, and then we'll introduce our judges and have a quick question and answer session for our top 3 pitches. Let's take a look.
Hello. Team 3J has made an inventory tracking system as our hackathon project. With it, hospitals can view each other's available equipment so as to better coordinating the transfer and share of equipment. At present, it tracks both items and anonymous patients. To note, We went with an API rather than just a website so as to enable integration between systems and minimize vendor lock-in. The response that our API returns would not be what a human sees, but rather what is automatically fed into some other application, be that a website or installed software, or both. Our hackathon project is a walking skeleton. A full production version would include authentication, a hierarchy of permissions reflecting the workflow of a hospital, and would also look a lot nicer. Items can represent any tangible objects that require tracking. For example, here we can register a new item that is a table made of oak that's located in the lounge. And we can see our results. Each item has a history, which represents every time it's been moved, used, or broken. You can record the start and end of these occurrences using the endpoints here at the bottom. Use events specifically include a list of patients that have come into contact with the item in question. Items also have a status which can be changed through the API right here. Using the /all endpoint, we can see the information history and status of an item, shown here. Item tracking wouldn't be complete if it didn't also log what patients came into contact with an item and when. Rather than creating a PII database, we merely track a unique user ID for each patient that can then be used to reference some other database. If you know the ID of a user, you can view a list of notes and flags that have been recorded of them, with flags corresponding to something like COVID positive. Here you can see the results. You can add a new flag to a person, which you can then view through the API. Here, we're adding to person 26 a diagnosis of COVID positive with some patient info and a doctor's note. You can view that one individual flag as well as a list of all flags for patient 26 here. And that's our API. It was definitely a fun project to work on. Throughout it, I kept thinking how I would write this for real, but obviously that's beyond the scope of a hackathon. Thank you all, and have an outstanding Air Force Day.
An impressive panel of judges for our final round of the App Build and Pitch competition. Please welcome Ms. Lauren Knassenberger, the Chief Transformation Officer for the Air Force.
Hi there.
True innovator that is passionate about allowing individuals to be as creative and as innovative as they can be. Thank you, Lauren, for being with us today.
Great to be here, Sharice.
Have retired Colonel Brian Hastings, who leads the state of Alabama's Emergency Management Agency, overseeing our response team that has dealt with the COVID-19 pandemic for the past few months, on top of his normal day job of providing Governor Kay Ivey with tremendous support across the state. Thanks, Brian, for joining us.
Thanks, Sharice. Glad to be here.
But certainly not least, a bit of a hometown hero, Colonel Terrence T.A. Adams, the Acting Director of Digital Transformation for the Air Force, who was born and educated right here in Alabama, but now a decorated cyber officer providing direct support to the CIO. Appreciate you being here as well, TA.
Thanks, man. Appreciate being here. Happy to be here.
Let's introduce our top 3 teams and learn a little bit more about their application.
Leo Durham. I'm with the AEM Digital Warhawks, and I'll be talking about the project we've made for this hackathon. We've noticed that during the pandemic, there were a lot of people who were flocking to all sorts of stores such as Walmart, Publix, and so on to get the necessary supplies they needed for a pandemic, such as toilet paper, canned food, hand sanitizers, and so on. And since they did not know what was available where, they would keep going from store to store. And this increased the risk of infection a lot, especially during that pandemic. So we wanted to make a web application that was easily accessible to everyone, that will show the users the availability of items in each store. And now I'll pass this over to Matthew Little, who will talk about what we've used to actually make this application.
Hi, I'm Matthew Little. So for this application, we use Python and JavaScript. And for the most part, we use React, and Flask, and MongoDB for the overall setup. And that's it.
Hopefully with this app, we might think that this might help Alabama in case of another pandemic.
I'm going to be showing you what our working prototype looks like. So I will be taking a screen share. So this is our working prototype. These little markers are stores that we have added to the database. The stores have to be added to the database by the administration manually. However, we made it this way because we wanted to be accessible to people who don't have internet all the time. So what happens is the database actually outputs a JSON file which will be cached by the browser. So you can hopefully leave this when you don't have access to the internet later on. So while the data may not be 100% accurate by then, it will still give you a rough idea of where you can find what. And if you click on any of these markers, it will show you what's available where. Thank you for listening. This was our presentation.
In third place, the AUM Digital Warhawks, who created an interactive emergency map. Their team representative is Ali Yildirim.
Hello.
Judges, you now have 4 minutes. Ms. Knotzenberger, you have the first question.
All right. So the first thing that hit me when I saw your app was, it's a great idea, but is it going to lead to higher stakes store to store? So now that it's COVID, and I know that they have N95 masks and toilet paper at that store, and all the other people in the app see that they have it at that store, do we now have like the crowd the size of a football game all headed to that store, and just the economics say by the time you get there, it's gone? Kind of like Waze when it says avoid that highway, and then 10 minutes later it's actually beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So how have you all thought about that problem and how to maybe get ahead of that?
Our idea was that it will direct you to the closest one to you, and there's obviously going to be more than one, usually, ideally, or at least hopefully, places where you can get what you're looking for. So our original idea was that it would actually direct you to the closest place to you, but we unfortunately ran out of time before we could actually get the user's geolocation and list the closest places in order. But that was as far as we could go about that issue, because obviously there's going to be a delay between how fast the stocks get updated on the server side and how fast the store actually reports that. So our solution was to help that a little bit, to direct you to the closest place to you instead of like sending it to like halfway across town or something. But
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'll ask a question. So Ali, if it goes back to the connectivity, so the inputs, if it seems like this is a crowdsourced, I'm at the store, I see something on the shelf and crowdsource it. But if you don't have that connection right there, how does that information get there? Is there another way to get information? Because some of these stores already have a database of instantaneous inventory on the shelves, but is there any thought of another way to actually verify other than just the crowdsource? Because Waze on county roads in rural Alabama can lead you astray, and if no one's reporting, there could still be an accident, a closure, or something like that.
yes, actually, we thought about that, and we have actually included a Python script that gives you interaction between database and people who have basically administration access. So you could, like, if the government has that information, for instance, if you have, any form of communication with these stores during an emergency, you could actually add those things by hand manually, or if you trust the stores or the managers of the stores and so on, you can actually give them access to, input that data. And the data is being taken as a JSON file. So if you have any kind of script to convert whatever format they're keeping it, you may not even need to do it manually. Like, you could automate the process. So you don't necessarily just need the input from the people going there.
Okay.
Sir, I think
you're on mute. TA, you're going to have to repeat that. You're on mute.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying with only a few seconds left, I just wanted to say great job as far as your app. It was very creative. I enjoyed looking at it, and the idea was superb. So great job for you and your team.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you to the AUM Digital Warhawks. Now, in second place will be the Stingers, who created an application for education that provides access to Wi-Fi and also food bank locations. Their team representative is Matthew Boring.
Hello, my name is Matthew Boring. I am a senior accounting student here at the Alabama State University, and I am part of the Stingers. This is the app, MGM Education, which I wanted some of Mayor Stephen Reed and also to educate Montgomery. Here's the home screen of the application, and throughout the presentation, I will show you what each button does. Here's the first one, it is announcements. Here's the screen that would be pulled up. You can click on the announcement, and the announcement would be detailed right there. The next would be the calendar button. You can link your personal email, your Gmail email to this, and it will show your personal schedule and your school schedule on this schedule. The school information, here's Johnny Carr Middle School. There's me as a teacher, and you can click there, and then you can also put the phone number there, and you click on the email, and it will link straight to develop an email to send to the teacher. Educational games, I figured during the pandemic the kids were lacking some fun, so here's some educational games with mathematics, language arts, and here's science. You click on the science link and it will take you to here. You click this link and it will take you straight to the educational games. The food bank, I figured during the crisis that the kids were lacking school lunches, so here's a link to where they can get food, and you can also zoom in to see specific locations of where to get food. Next is Meet Your Teacher. Here's me again, and there's the room number if they're in class, and you can put a brief description of what you're teaching, what you like to do for fun, and your background of education. The next is the policies, which you can put dress code if it's there, grading policy, you can put your syllabus on there as a teacher, and also COVID-19 guidelines. And right here, you click on the grading policy and it will display there. The Wi-Fi locations, here's the Wi-Fi locations, and you click on the Wi-Fi locations and here's the layout, and you can zoom in right now to see what location is closest to you, because I know Mayor Reed said that they were lacking people of going to them. I think it might be hard for them to find it. So I figured down the road, to be agile, you could enable your locations in the app, and you could click the link of the address destination and take it straight there from your Apple Maps. Next is Meet Your Classmates. I figured the students lacked communication during this time, and you can explain, you can put your picture, your name, and a brief explanation of what you like to do for fun. And last is questions. If you have any questions, you can reach me at matthewboring50@gmail.com or via cell phone 334-740-1117. Thank you for your time.
I'll let you kick it off, Colonel Adams.
Hey, Matthew. Thanks for participating today. So my question is, as far as the updating of information that you all have, can you step through the process of how you would keep your app updated with content?
Keeping it up with the data of the locations of the Wi-Fi centers. Is that kind of the question you're going for, or the application of?
With the content, with the
yes,
Wi-Fi.
Sir. So that would have to be communication with the school district and also the school offices on keeping it up to date, keeping also with getting to know teachers and stuff like that. You'll have to communicate as if a teacher retired, say so, or left the district. And also you could communicate with teachers to personally update syllabuses and other stuff in the app.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll ask one. How did you prioritize what you were going to include in the app? Did you speak to students and teachers about greatest needs? How did you gather that information and make that decision?
From the YouTube video that I saw, I really saw where during the pandemic everybody was affected with communication with the students and also the communication to get to the Wi-Fi locations. I saw that there was a lack of people using the Wi-Fi location, so I wanted to see how I could improve that. And also I wanted to have it to where the kids that are used to eating school lunches were able to still get a meal. And
all right, great, thank you.
Hey, Matthew, my question is, I was trying to understand how you kind of individualize this and personalize it to the school, to the person, and things like that. So in your presentation, you kind of pitch it as, you were the teacher, you're in this class, you got some of the stuff, and then it went to something that was a little bit more overarching guidance from the mayor, the food banks, and the Wi-Fi. But for the education part of that one, what's the vision of trying to personalize that so you get a group of people going to one location, as opposed to, you just described what you would be populating into the database? Would there be each school, do you envision each school having their own kind of button that you click on and it would go to all those buttons that you described with functions?
yes, sir. Each school, there was one of the buttons and it showed the list of the schools and you could select on your school, but also there would be you would select your school kind of the way it is at Alabama State University. When you sign into Blackboard, say via cell phone on an app, you have to select your university and you would select your local middle school or elementary school, whatnot, of the location that this app needs to be personalized to.
Okay, so going back to, I think, the first question, it's going to be the onus will be on the school to find someone, elect to use this app, and then they'd have to populate it with all the information in there.
Could you repeat that just one more time, please?
The onus would be on the school. If someone wanted to use your app and then populate it, you'd have to identify someone in each one of those schools to populate that information. Is that true?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks a lot for the Stingers team. Now, our first place team was Hot Java. Returning from last year, this year they actually created an educational application to ensure children did not fall behind in their schoolwork. Their team representative is Taylor Hopper.
Good afternoon. We are Hot Java. I'm Taylor Hopper, and I'm the team lead.
I'm Jaden Hong, and I'm a developer.
I'm Chris Padilla, and I'm a developer.
I'm Matt Shaw, and I'm a tester.
I'm Darius Johnson, and I'm a 6th grader at Pike Road School.
And I'm Rachel Rook, and I'm a technical writer.
Upon accepting the application building challenge presented by innovateAFITC, the team looked over the available topics and decided the education approach best represented hardships in real life. We want to help ease the decision many parents had to make at the end of the summer. Well, I sent my child back to school. To help make both options easier to attain, we created Lesson Hub.
Hub includes categorizing lessons by grade level or subject. Users can upload lessons with titles, descriptions, and attachments. The app is free for all users except for tutors looking to advertise their services.
The purpose of our application is to make homeschooling more accessible for those who need it, for the safety of their kids from COVID-19. It provides more of a variety of interactions between students, teachers, worksheets, and activities. Not only does the application contain worksheets, but also general teaching tips and guides from other teachers.
Before we tell you the details about our app, let us first tell you more about ourselves. Our team is comprised of 1 woman and 4 men, with 3 Caucasians, 2 Asians, and 1 African American. Our team is also composed of 3 industry professionals, 2 service members, and 1 student.
Since COVID-19, I've had to adjust. It has been hard to find good learning resources based on subjects I love, let alone free resources. Lesson Hub is a solution to that problem. Even better, I can provide peer tutoring virtually by posting my videos and technology-based learning resources. With Lesson Hub, I now have a free platform that gives me access to learn and share across my favorite topics. And even though I'm not physically with my friends and teachers, we still have a way to collaborate across all subject areas and interests.
We created the application using Postgres, Node, React, and Express.
Hub was created to be a huge resource bay of worksheets, teaching tips, and guides brought to users by real teachers. With a directory of tutors and activity set for any grade level, your child doesn't have to fall behind due to today's circumstances.
The app provides accountability by differentiating creator and user profiles. It also uses a rating system to ensure the quality of tips and worksheets meets a user set criteria.
With more time and resources, we wanted to implement some future ideas. Our team wishes to create capabilities for adding more career-based knowledge with age, and adding rating categories such as engagement, fun, retention.
You may be asking yourself, how are we different? We have developed the first app of its kind to provide a directory of virtual tutors and the first completely free resource bay of worksheets and tips directly from teachers and feedback from students.
Lesson Hub, a homeschooling family's best friend.
Hey everybody.
First question, Brian.
Let me come off mute here real quickly. I really like the presentation, and even though there was a lot of people talking and going around, I thought it was very, very smooth, so I appreciate that. And you kind of handled something that is near and dear to all of our hearts with school-age children. So is there any thought of trying to, so it was, education for everyone, people go there. Is there any way to put a localized or a state flair on it, depending on the different requirements in the education system per state, or is it just kind of overarching that people go there and select the things that they'd like to explore based on the grade or what they like to do?
Right. So currently, right now, it is more or less national, not divvied out to different regions, different states, different counties, all the different learning experiences that they have or different curriculum. But there is possibility to do that, to kind of specify and get more detailed for the local community versus the national overarching idea.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Kevin.
Thank you.
So I'm curious if you've given any thought to who would provide the content and how it might be curated. And that's another thing that probably does also get into an ultra local offering. With school age kids, they may or may not know how to pick what was good, what was bad. There would probably have to be some pretty active curation of what types of content is there. So I'm just curious if you all had thought through that and how you approach it.
Right, we have thought about it. The idea right now is that it is community driven. There is a rating system for folks to rate the content itself. And of course, the user community would have first priority on what the rating is. So, lower quality work, something that didn't help some group, they may give it a low rating, and obviously more low ratings would lower it. But there would be an administrative aspect to get the content on in the first place, because we wouldn't want someone uploading something inappropriate into the application itself.
And what did you say about your transferability? You mentioned that now you kind of designed it at the national scale, and you'd have to do some tweaking to make it local. Right. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir. Right now it is. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Right now it is local, yes. But as far as the work to get it right now it is national, but it's order to get it to be localized. I don't know that it would be very difficult. We would mostly be able to kind of geotag based off of local curriculum and the area that the user is accessing it from.
Okay. Well, great presentation. I like the depth in your presentation, the diversity, and the creativity. So great job with your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll echo. Really nice video. Really, really great team. It looks like you have there.
We do. They are wonderful. Thank you all.
Thank you, Hot Java. Great job to Taylor and their team. Let's give a virtual round of applause to all of our pitch teams and representatives. Thanks to our judges for asking such great questions. Now, we're going to give them some time to actually deliberate and score this final round. So hang in there with us. We'll be right back.
As I've been here in Montgomery, my interest in my careers has been shifting towards computer programming because of the classes I've been taking and also because I've gotten to work with it at home. I've found many more girl participants in STEM programs since I've gone to Montgomery. I'm not sure if it's just because time has passed or if it's honestly because the education system has been including more girls into it. The place I was at previously, I'd been going to this really nice school called Ames. It was the Albuquerque Institute of Math and Science. So I honestly thought that it was going to be a step down. But once I got here, I found that I really enjoyed the education system, especially the one that I joined because we were doing project-based learning and it was a whole new experience. It had been a while since I'd been to a normal public school. But I had since then obviously been very blown away with how they've been handling their math and science programs at the school and how much attention to detail they put into it.
Hi, I'm Cherie Stokes, Executive Director with Tech MGM in the Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the new tech and innovation space for the Chamber.
This tech boom, as you call it. I know a lot of those seeds have been laid down with the fiber and Tech MGM and things that have been happening here for years. And we feel pretty honored and humbled to be a part of the process and asked to come down and participate in the process. And so we're hopeful that we can help take it to the next level with whatever that may mean and bring partners and partner with the local community to do that as well.
This is the Air Force's progression to the future and getting back to our roots of being a high-tech service. Bringing this software factory to produce business systems and mobile applications for the United States Air Force.
We have the talent, we have the people, and we have the culture and environment that's really ready to really take off right now. And I think that with the leadership that we have in our business community, in the military community, it's a great opportunity for us to bring in people who may not have thought about Montgomery in the past, but because of where we are right now and what we're poised to do, see this as a great place to start and a great place to grow.
There's an investment at the ground up to get the platform right, to get the people mixed and doing it. There's incredible investment by government, right? Wanting to do it in the city with the businesses in the city, bringing top businesses together to help everybody come along. You're not going to find that in other tech hubs, right? There's tech hubs in all sorts of cities and things like that, but the unique combination, everything's here. It's all ready, and we just need to now grow it and evolve it.
This is not happening everywhere, so the Air Force has stood up several software factories around the country. This is the first one where there's a true partnership with the city where we're located, where we've got a mixed-use public space where we can come in and do software development, and we're not paying large amounts of rent. This is a true collaborative effort in something that's, again, it's unique across the government and unique across the nation. As far as we know, this is the only place where this kind of activity is happening.
They have collaborative desk, innovative space, but an opportunity for them to all sit down and not only learn, but to work and to collaborate together.
We know how to bring the right people in to make great things happen, and that's what's going on here. And this is very exciting. This is going to be transformative for Montgomery.
Hello from the Pentagon, and greetings to all of you at innovateAFITC. My name is A.G. Hatcher Jr., and I'm the Acting Air Force Deputy Chief Information Officer. On behalf of the Department of the Air Force, I would like to extend a great big thank you to all of our Hackathon 2020 participants. This is such an exciting opportunity for teams across government, industry, and academia to collaborate and compete in challenges that have real-world implications. I appreciate all of the support from AFCEA, Tech MGM, and all of the people who came together to make this year's hackathon a reality. I am certain all of this year's participants were challenged beyond measure to craft some innovative solutions. I know last year's winning team, the Omelettes, was a collaborative group comprised of airmen from Maxwell Gunter Air Force Base and students from Auburn University in Montgomery. They did a phenomenal job in last year's competition, and I'm excited to see who will take the crown this year. Thanks and congratulations to you all. You are all winners in my eyes. Sharice and team, congratulations on putting together a first-class event. I appreciate your team's hard work and dedication.
This has been a really exciting competition this year, bringing esports into the fold and bringing back the Network and Systems Challenge truly gave a really nice touch to this year's competition. After our final round of the App Build and Pitch, here are the winners. In third place, the Stingers. In second place, the AUM Digital Warhawks. And in first place for the App Build and Pitch, Hot Java. With these added points, there's been some shuffling to our overall winner. Coming in third place overall, the AUM Digital Warhawks with students from Auburn University, Montgomery. Coming in second place, 3J, with students from Troy University and airmen from ACC and the 505th. And the overall winner of innovateAFITC 2020 Hackathon and Cyber Challenge is the Stingers from Alabama State University. The belt goes to them this year, and they are the reigning champions for all of 2020 until we compete again in 2021. They did an awesome job competing this week, as did all of our participants. Each year, we truly enjoy the opportunity to provide a creative, collaborative, and fun competition for our students, our airmen, and IT professionals across the globe. This would not be possible if it were not for the hard work of so many individuals, and I would be remiss if I did not recognize them this evening. Huge thanks go out to Brian Noel, Jackie McKinney, Alyssa Gable, Zach Lewis, Charlie Delgado, Matthew Smith, Allie Fisher, Chance Crawford, Cameron Tuttle, Nieves Anderson, Kendria Evans, and Dylan Stokes. I'd also like to thank our subject matter experts, Phil Ensler, Camille Floyd, Dennis Sansom, and Meg Lewis, and also our judges for the App Build and Pitch competition, Ken Heitkamp, Zach Lewis, Charlie Delgado, Colonel Terrence Adams, Ms. Lauren Knausenberger, and Colonel Brian Hastings. And of course, our co-sponsors, Mr. A.G. Hatcher, out of the Secretary of the Air Force, Chief Information Officer, and also Mr. Eric Sloan, the Director of the Montgomery AFCEA Chapter Education Foundation. We look forward to hosting this event every year and more events throughout the entire year to educate our community, both IT professionals, students, as well as those airmen that are local and across the globe in a variety of STEM areas, cybersecurity, and so much more. Please join us for innovateAFITC 2021, and if not then, check us out throughout the year. Have a wonderful evening.